We are the dying embers of a once proud nation, the last breath of a condemned man. We have hurled our inheritance to the ground and trampled upon it, claiming that others have more right to it than we. What madness is this that has seized us? There are some here tonight that are firm advocates of free market capitalism. My friends, we have been betrayed. We have been told that with enough hard work, with enough effort, you can be anything, you can do anything that you want. But even as these promises are made, our jobs are steadily moved overseas, our education costs increase, and the road to success grows narrower. I had not planned on speaking quite this way tonight. I had it in mind to discuss with you the rising costs of education and certain work that we could do to perhaps lower this, to increase our opportunities in that field. It was intended to be a scholarly discussion until one of my friends, well-meaning but stupid, asked me, "What do you think would have happened a few hundred years ago if we'd looked up at the stars? Do you think we would have thought it was possible to travel between them?" I responded with vehemence that I don't think that she expected, because my thoughts immediately went as follows. No, we probably would have been working pretty damned hard to survive, because when you are poor, your first thought is of eating. The rich. Imagination is the province of the wealthy, not the poor. I want to tell you a little bit about who I am and why it is that I'm fighting. I'm the oldest of 10 children. I'm a pastor's son. My parents are staunch conservative Christians. My dad started a construction company when I was about 12 to help support his growing family. I was taught that if you had enough drive and desire, and if you worked hard enough, you could go anywhere and you could do anything. I was told that this was a meritocracy, and I believed it. I worked for that business for 14 years with my father and two of my brothers, right up until the housing bubble burst and everything that we had worked towards collapsed. At that point, we went from having a significant list of clientele, people who were waiting for years for us to do work for them, to nothing inside of a few short weeks. My father tried pretty hard to keep us going. He gave the good jobs to us. He rotated them between us. He made sure that we had work at his own expense. At that point, I was working maybe 1 to 2 days per week if I was lucky. There were a couple periods of time when that was no longer possible. My savings were wiped out. And there were a couple periods where I had $20 for food and it had to last me for 2 weeks. You have to make that choice between paying rent and eating. I jumped industries. I did a stint with highway construction. I made $11.45 an hour to stand there sometimes for 14 hours at a stretch without taking a piss break. You had to choose what you wanted. You got to eat your lunch and you got to have your bottle of water if you wanted to risk the fact that there was no guarantee that the construction company you were working with was going to give you a chance to go to the bathroom. A friend of the family managed to get me an interview at a local machine shop. I landed the job. Inside of 50 weeks, I had moved to management in a highly technical field. Within the year, I had all of that under my control, and I had my own people being hired there along with me. I've been there now for just about 4 years. By the end of this year, I'm going to be running just about everything in the entire shop. Republicans would hear this story and applaud what they view as the success of their system. But let me be clear on this. If that position had not opened, none of my merit would ever have mattered. I'd never have gotten a chance. I'd never have moved up. Now understand this, I've never been on welfare. I've never been on unemployment. I've never had a government handout of any kind. I've worked since I was 12. I've never begged and I've never stolen. I've made it because of good friends, good family, and the grace of God. Not everyone has, my friends, not everyone has a good family. Not everyone makes it. This isn't the end of my story. Some of the work we do is for a project called the S-92 helicopter. We manufacture this for Sikorsky Aircraft Corporation. We make the transmission frame for this helicopter. It's about 8 feet long. It's made out of solid titanium. We take a 360-pound forge and we machine it down to 36 pounds. It's all part of what is collectively referred to as the cockpit assembly. Up until about 2 years ago, all of that cockpit assembly was manufactured right here in Pennsylvania, in a plant in Coatesville. Sikorsky decided that they were going to start cutting costs. So what they did was they outsourced this job. They sent this to Tata in Hyderabad in Andhra Pradesh in India. I would be surprised if anyone here could point that out on the map. The cabin is assembled there before being returned to Coatesville, where it is then incorporated into the rest of the helicopter. Now, I don't know if any of you pay attention to lines, but I do, because this is my industry. And about 2 months ago, Sikorsky laid off collectively about 1,500 of their employees between their Stratford facility and their Coatesville facility. What this means is that the jobs that were being done by American personnel are no longer. They are being taken. This will not be the end of my shop, but this is trickle-down economics at work. And this is what unrestrained capitalism looks like. The last two significant domestic manufacturing bastions or strongholds that are still present here in this country are aerospace and medical. If this trend continues, neither one will survive. I'll make it. I've got management experience. I've proven myself wily and capable. Somewhere, I will find a way to continue going, but not everybody will. Big banking took my first career. The financial system was directly and deliberately manipulated at the expense of the middle and lower class. And no executives were punished. No one went to prison for this. Probably the biggest swindle of all time. Without a reason to keep manufacturing done domestically, big business will try its best to take my second career. We did not come here tonight to ask for welfare or some kind of handout. All of us are strong and capable. We're willing to work. We desire to survive. We desire to advance. We want to make the world a better place. To do that, we need education and we need opportunity. The ruling class, the ruling 1%, I say this to you. You do not get to take everything we have and then claim it is our fault when we starve. My name is Joshua Larson. I will be a voice for the voiceless, a face for the faceless. I will not stand idle while you destroy us, and I do not stand alone.